Thank you for joining me today. My name is Lee Reams with CountingWorks Pro, and today's Quick Hits, we're talking about content creation, the ultimate driver of new client engagements in the digital age. So what do we mean by that? So let's first of all talk about how the client lifecycle used to look. So back in the simple days, it was easier for professional service providers to understand the trajectory of the client lifecycle within their industry. Pros just had to figure out how to attract prospects, usually by building up their referral pipeline. And this is a slow process. This is a one-to-one process and only is built when people decide to refer to you, right? So from there, the process was fairly linear. But today's age, now comes the marketing funnel. So there's this whole new part of the funnel that, with greater transparency, the internet, obviously search engines, social media, make it so firms that are not working on their digital footprint are actually out of the first three levels of this funnel. We borrowed this from TrackMaven. This is a nice comparison. It shows the B2C side and the B2B side. But basically, it all starts with the awareness stage, right? So back in the day, the prospect was already at the intent stage within the marketing funnel since they were actively seeking recommendations. The service provider, they needed to engage in a conversation, qualify the lead, present how they could help solve the prospect's problems, address any objections, and close the deal. But today's world, you have people with the use of the internet searching for information to start. They're finding content that is in blogs. They're finding posts on social media. They're finding video content. They're seeing mentions of brands in other people's articles. So people that talk about certain things and interview experts or influencers. So that's part of the awareness stage. So if you do not have content or a presence at that stage, you're not even in the game, right? And what we do in kind of the new marketing 101 is the awareness stage is somewhat of how do we create content that will move people from awareness to an interest stage, right? So, hey, you know what? I do have this problem. I have this pain point. I need help. I'm starting a new business. I have no idea what business entity to establish. So I could Google and find all the different options and see different people's opinions on what the best, should I be a sole proprietor? Do I have risk? There's a lot of things that go with it, right? So as we know, not everything on the internet is correct. And, as you are trying to get people to kind of move from the awareness, hey, I'm looking to figure out what kind of entity I'm trying to choose, the goal is to say, okay, not only am I now educating myself on what the options are, in reality, I'm finding there's a little bit of risk and I want some advice. So that turns people into the interest stage. They want to learn then more about products or services, and then you want to move them into the consideration. And that's where people will start looking at reviews. What are other people saying about your firm? What are their experiences? Are you responsive? Have they benefited? And sometimes they do better at selling than you ever could. So any a very solid review from a current client, really gives the kind of the web prospect a better insight of what it's like working with you, right? So from there, now we're past the consideration. Let's get into the intent stage, and that's where the old way. That's where you started, right? So we still have the intent stage. How do we now engage that buyer? Well, hopefully they've been working with our brand in the awareness, interest, and consideration stage way before we even knew they existed. So by the time they come into the intent stage, a lot of that selling and trust has already been built by our content. And that is the big missing element that a lot of accountants, tax professionals, kind of still relying on the old way are missing out. So basically this side of the funnel, if you are not working on your digital footprint, you're not even in the game, okay? So from there, the intent, we go through evaluation and purchase, kind of the standard ways things have worked before. I've done a different quick hits on the client lifecycle, but I'll just go through this real quick. It's kind of similar to the funnel that we just showed, but attract prospects, start a conversation. We're humans. We're trying to, how can we help you? Make it easy for them to start a conversation. You want to be able to qualify your leads. So a lot of times you can do that by just the way you position yourself. So if you're working in a niche and you're only, let's say, trying to attract dentists, people who are in healthcare or whatever, you're creating content around that. So you're already qualifying your leads by becoming an expert in that niche. If you're trying to be broad, so I'm looking for bookkeeping clients any kind of bookkeeping clients. It's much harder to kind of attract the right kind of bookkeeping clients. So maybe you want to specialize in startups or tech startups, or specialize in growth companies. Whatever your skill set is, if you create content around your specialty, it will help you qualify your leads a lot better. And a lot of even your messaging and your branding, your website will help do that as well. 4 is present your offer. So how do you take friction out of the buying process? A lot of times professionals are used to billing hourly. There's a lot of risk there. What does that mean? What's your hourly rate? How many hours will this project take? There's a lot more risk and kind of what I call friction in the buying process. A lot of people are now using packaging. You can call it value pricing, whatever you want to call it. But hey, these are my 3 programs that I do for startups. Starter package includes XX and X services. It is $400 a month. The mid-level package is $1,000 a month, and then my high-end package is $2,000 a month. It's very transparent. These are the services. You make it very easy. You take the risk out of making that buying decision to work with you. So kind of work on the way you present your offer. Addressing objections, reviews do that for you a lot of times, but have a list of, what are the reasons people choose not to work with you? Pricing too high, this and that, location, I'm out of state. You need to have objections set up that you can easily overcome them and ease their fear during the buying process. Number 6 is a big deal. User experience, how you onboard clients. It's kind of the beginning of the relationship. You want it to start off 100% on board in a good experience. You want to be responsive. You want to make it easy using technology from engagement letters to collecting client data, making closing onboarding a nice and enjoyable experience is a good way to say it. Number 7, retain and gain referrals. So this is much more than just the expertise that you provide, but how responsive are you? Are you communicating with your clients on an ongoing basis? Do you use an email newsletter? Are you active on social media? Are you blogging? Are you adding videos to YouTube? These are all the ways that you're continuing to showcase your expertise, right? And it makes it easier for your clients to refer you. If you're active on social and someone asks them on Facebook, who do you use? Hey, this is my accountant, and then send a nice professional Facebook page with a bunch of recommendations already on it. The chances of you making that web referral a client are much higher, right? So number 7 is a hugely important thing that kind of greases the whole thing. So the question is, how can accounting and tax pros drive meaningful client engagement in the digital age? So, it comes down to building what we call evergreen content. So the majority of searches for tax and accounting help start online, right? So without a strong digital footprint, your practice isn't even part of the conversation. And worse yet, as I said before, you don't even realize you're out of the game. So create content that will help you. A lot of this nurturing is done online, right? So even before someone actually has reached out and said, contact me or call me, your content is already nurturing that lead. So you must have a strong digital footprint to stay in the game. And how do you do it? Well, it's through content creation. Blogging consistently has led B2B marketers to generate 67% more leads than marketers who do not. So the best way to sell is not to sell, right? So you're just educating, you're providing information, you're establishing yourself as an expert. By the time they're ready to, hey, now I'm at the intent stage, they're basically already quote unquote sold. So as we said, use evergreen content. So how-to pieces, how to balance your books, how to improve cash flow, how to pay your employees. You can go on and on of all the different content that you can create around those type of tasks or pain points. And then, of course, updating with tax reform. There's so many different tax law changes. There's different ways to plan for it, and even sharing your reviews. So our platform with CountingWorks Pro will actually, when we get reviews on TaxBuzz or CountingWorks, we'll actually syndicate those reviews out to our clients' social accounts automatically. And you would be amazed at the amount of engagement, one, that kind of validates to your current audience why they work with you. But if people are following you that are still in the nurture stage, it's just another quote unquote not selling recommendation, right? It's almost like another referral. So over 50% of our growth level subscribers web traffic comes from their blog and social content. That's a huge number. It's amazing when we see the clients, it takes much more than just a website to be found online. We try to preach this, and that's what our growth product is all about. You need to have citations, you need to have the reviews, you need to have social proof, social signals. Those are all the elements that really drive traffic. And the 50% growth, the difference between those that participate and don't is kind of a main, it's a big number, right? I think it was something important. So we did a survey of small business owners, so CEOs, people who own businesses, and the majority of searches for tax and accounting help start online, right? But more importantly, and I'll include this link in the description of this the YouTube video. What's important is the percentage of people now using reviews and social media over a direct referral on who they choose to work with is mind-blowing. So it's now a bigger number. So people are using, this is kind of the way consumer behavior has changed. So I hope this has helped you understand how important it is to establish your own digital footprint, use content to kind of showcase your expertise. And it's very easy. We have a platform, Counterworks Pro, that does this for our clients, but we also have a blog that has a ton of resources for the DIY type of people who are just trying to learn how to do stuff on your own. Check out our blog, and it's some great, valuable information in there. If you have any questions on establishing your own footprint, give us a call at 800-442-2477. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.